glory to Jesus Christ, and welcome to this week's episode of God with Us Live. Every week, we're joined by men and women, monastics, clergy, and laity, exploring exciting and inspiring ways to live our Eastern Catholic faith today. Your host is Nick Medelsky, husband, father, and tonsured reader of the Ukrainian Catholic Eparchy of St. Nicholas. And now, here's Nick.
And welcome back, God with Us Live listeners. Nick Medelsky, your host, again, pleased to be here with you. Very exciting today to talk to a name that's probably very familiar to a lot of you, especially if you've been active on social media or used some of the new resources we've started offering at God With Us. Lynne Wardach, she is the original ByziMom and involved in a lot of other wonderful things too. Lynne, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today.
Now, could you start us off by telling our listeners a little bit about who you are and maybe what the different things you've been involved in?
Sure. I'm a cradle Ruthenian Byzantine Catholic. I live in the Scranton area in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I'm married to my husband, Paul, who's also a cradle Ruthenian Byzantine Catholic. We've been married about 30 years, and we have 5 adult children, all in their 20s, and we are the proud grandparents of a 2-year-old little sweetheart named Sophia, and her little brother, our tiny baby grandson, is scheduled to make his appearance just after Pascha. So that's about me personally, and let me tell you about a couple of my favorite hobbies. I'm an oblate and a coordinator of a new lay sisterhood called the Myrrh-Bearing Lay Sisters of St. John the Beloved at Holy Annunciation Monastery in Sugarloaf, Pennsylvania. I'm the founder of the online ministry known as ByziMom, the creator and executive editor of ByziKids magazine, and I'm super excited to be a co-editor and of the brand new publication sponsored by God With Us ECF called The Dwelling Place.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we'll dive into a lot of the things with ByziMom and ByziKids and all of those things. But something there that's fairly new just within the past few years and something people might not be as familiar with is the lay sisterhood of the Myrrh-Bearing Sisters. Could you talk a little bit about what that means, what that is even?
Sure. It's very exciting for me. I started off at Holy Annunciation Monastery about I would say 20 years ago or so as an oblate there. But at the time, the monastery was still Carmelite. And then they underwent some changes, and Archbishop William kind of helped them along with that. And they are now affiliated very loosely with the Carmelite order, but yet they're more authentically Byzantine. And so they started making this transition, I want to say about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And Mother Maria, the Hegumena at the monastery, asked me if I would come along with them and begin a lay order similar to a secular order we had in Carmel, but it would be specifically attached to the monastery rather than to an order. So we are officially attached to Holy Annunciation Monastery. We are 25 members strong now. We've been, I would say, together for about a year now. Mother Maria and I met for a while before that to kind of get our bearings and figure out exactly what we were going to be, what our mission was going to be. But we pattern ourselves after the Myrrh-Bearing women at Pascha, who went out into the darkness of night and went towards the tomb kind of with their little jars of myrrh, not knowing what they were going to find, but knowing they had a job to do. Well, many of us women kind of feel the same way. You know, the world is a very dark place now, and we're heading out with our myrrh, which is our little gifts and things that we do, to offer to the body of Christ, the church, which is suffering so badly today. And we really don't know how that's all going to end up, but we leave that to God and we just go forward. So it's a really great mission that the nuns at the monastery have started, and I'm proud to be part of it.
Now, is that something limited to people who live sort of within that area of Pennsylvania near the monastery, or is that something people can join across the nation, or how does that part of it work?
Yeah, the great part about that is that we offer remote membership as well. So much of what we do, we can do online via Zoom or whatever we choose. And we have members all over the United States. We have a member in Canada, and we have a member in the Dominican Republic as well. And we all get
Wow.
together online, I would say once a month as best we can. We have a channel on Discord, which we can talk in real time to one another. We pray for each other. We have assignments to pray for every week. And we really have become close family we got to know each other well. We pray for each other. We support each other, and anyone can join. If any of the listeners are interested in something like that, they can find more about that on my website.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm sure there's people listening right now who'd be interested in something similar to that. A way to join in the monastic life, but kind of take that into the world. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
absolutely
it's
cool. Very
wonderful too.
cool.
The nuns offer us twice a year retreats at the monastery, and we get to live in their guest house and participate with them in all of the spiritual services that they have at the monastery. We get talks from Mother Maria then, and it really kind of shapes our faith. So there's a lot of hands-on things. People have flown in from all points of the United States for these retreats and have loved them. So it's quite a nice um, relationship that we have with the nuns there. We feel like family.
And is this kind of the first of this sort of group here in the U.S. at least? I mean, is this something that's being done in other places? I mean, obviously the Roman Catholics have kind of a similar thing, but as far as for Eastern Catholics, is this kind of a first?
It is a first. It is, in fact, Mother Maria always says that we are the pioneer group, and we are starting somewhere that no one has ever been before. So we really don't have a template to go by. We just sort of, she and I, talked over what we'd like to see this group achieve and what we'd like to make it into, and we've just done it. If other monasteries wish to do the same thing, I think that would be wonderful, but that would be up to them. That would be something that each monastery is so different and so unique,
Mm.
and their charism is different, that what works for us at Holy Annunciation may not work at other monasteries. And so, of course, I'd be willing to give, anybody insight as to what we do, but each monastery would have to kind of decide to do that on their own and come up with something that works for them.
Well, very cool. Once again, Nick Medelsky, your host today, and we're speaking with Lynne Wardach, talking about the sisterhood of the Myrrh-bearing sisters. There, kind of a cool way to get involved in the monastic way of life out in the world. But probably the thing, Lynn, that you're best known for is ByziMom and all of the busies that come after that, ByziKids and everything else. So, could you tell us a little bit about maybe? How ByziMom got started?
Okay. Several years ago, I started a personal blog and a website, and I called it ByziMom. And the first page I created was called Coffee Hour. And of course, being a contemplative, I had a lot of reflections and things that I wanted to put out, and I did that on that page. Then I started a page called Great Fast Meals, where I share tips and recipes and encouragement for those who are attempting the Eastern Christian fasting practice. That's a topic that's near and dear to my heart as well. But then there's a lot of other great pages on there. But above and beyond all of those, in popularity was the ByziKids page. And it's designed specifically for children. And it's where we feature our monthly publication, ByziKids magazine. So ByziKids is a pan-Eastern Christian grassroots monthly publication. And it's crafted by 10 dedicated volunteer moms who want to celebrate Byzantine Orthodoxy through the eyes of our children. So we're not affiliated with any kind of particular church or jurisdiction, but yet we produce, it's produced by a team of busy moms from all over the Eastern Christian world. So together we promote and encompass the teachings and traditions that are common to all of Byzantine, Catholic, and Orthodox Christianity.
Very cool. Very cool. So how did that start out? Obviously, you say you have 10 contributors right now, but as you said, it started as a personal blog. So how did you first kind of get started? What inspired you to start this?
Well, as I said, I'm the mom of 5 adult children, and I homeschooled them all through high school. And I was a catechist as well for the Eparchy and some church, a couple different churches in my past for about 30 years altogether. And I was using that great grade-based lessons that were in the God With Us series as a standard curriculum. And I found that although the lessons were really well crafted and I liked the way they flowed, it was great. It wasn't enough material to teach my students more than one lesson a week. So then I started to create a lot of my own original lesson plans and use them in my classroom and at home, and I filled in those empty spaces. But one of the things I really liked and that I learned about teaching young people faith lessons is that it can be really effective if you connect those lessons to sensory images, smells, textures, sounds, tastes. I find that later on it triggers them in their memory, and then it even in adulthood will bring Christ to their minds and their hearts all over again because they will remember the smells and the tastes and the sounds. So once my kids were grown and it became apparent that I wasn't going to be teaching anymore, I decided to gather all those lessons in one place. And that's what started the blog. I shared them with other moms who were searching for effective ways to make those connections as well. And I had so much fun with that I just decided to keep on crafting them. And now my friends and I at ByziKids, we create and share new lessons every month with anybody who wants to hear them.
Very cool. And of course, it's called ByziKids. But what is this resource kind of limited to parents and their kids, or is this something that a lot of different people can take something from?
Oh, you'd be surprised how many subscribers tell me that they actually don't have children. I was really shocked at that. One woman told me she didn't receive a lot of great catechesis when she was a child, and she felt kind of behind. And she liked our publication because she said it presented complex concepts that she heard about but didn't really understand in a really fundamental way. And it made sense to her, and it gave her a base then, like a gradual and comfortable way to enter into her faith journey. So I was really, really happy to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I can say personally myself, I've learned so much from the different articles on Busy Mom and at Busy Kids, and I know our kids love it. But I know my wife and I, we learned so much from it too. Again, just seeing it presented in a different way, and sometimes it's nice, like you said. A lot of times when things are presented to adults, it's text only, right? It's these very long, lengthy expositions of things and explanations, and it's nice to have cool pictures and, like you said, the sounds and the smells and different things to kind of get all of our senses, which makes a lot of sense for us as Byzantines, right? To involve all of the senses in learning, right?
It's nothing new to our Byzantine tradition. And it's amazing all of the things that we do that we take for granted in our Byzantine church that are truly sensory experiences. And why not just continue on that theme?
Absolutely. Once again, Nick Medelsky, pleased to be here today with the one and only Busy Mom. Well, not, I guess, the one and only original Busy Mom, Lynne Wardach, with us on the line today, telling us about Busy Mom and all the cool stuff there. And there's a really cool resource that the first issue came out last month called The Dwelling Place, and we'll talk a little bit about that and some of the other resources developed on over there at Busy Kids after we come back from a short break. So stay tuned.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Scenes with the Saints. Do you know the name of a saint whose prayers have been healing children for over 1,600 years? Saint Stylianos was born in Paphlagonia, which is modern-day Turkey, sometime between the 4th and the 6th centuries. His parents were very wealthy, and when they passed away, Stylianos inherited a large fortune. But Stylianos had always wanted to live the life of a monk, and so he promptly gave it all away to the poor. Free of all earthly cares, Stylianos left the city and moved to a monastery in the wilderness. Feeling that he had found his new home, Stylianos devoted himself to prayer and fasting. The only problem was that all of the other monks were jealous of how holy Stylianos was. Saddened, while at the same time not wanting to cause his brothers to sin, Stylianos moved to a cave in the wilderness to live as a hermit. Stylianos' reputation for holiness quickly spread among the inhabitants of Paphlagonia, and soon people began to visit his cave to hear him preach or to seek healing. God cured many people of physical and mental illnesses through his devoted servant Stylianos. In particular, Stylianos was known for curing sick children. Mothers would travel for days on end through the wilderness to seek the holy man's cave. Falling at his feet and praising God for having finally found the holy wonder-worker, they would hand their child to Stylianos. The blessed saint would hold the child in his arms and with tears in his eyes beg God for healing. Indeed, God would work many cures through this humble servant. So great is the love of Saint Stylianos for children that even to this day pious parents will place his icon at the sickbed of their child, imploring his prayers for healing. Even after 1,600 years, this holy man of God is still working wonders in the lives of little ones. Thank you for listening to this episode of Scenes with the Saints. Join us next time when we learn more about the lives of these holy men and women.
Welcome back, God with Us Live listeners. Nick Medelsky, your host here with the one and only Lynne Wardach of ByziMom, ByziKids, The Dwelling Place, and all kinds of other wonderful things. As we're headed into the break, we were talking about the ByziKids and the ByziKids magazine. Over the past few years, right? Something that started out as, like you said, a personal blog, developed into a digital, like an e-magazine, I guess is the right way to say it, and now has actually become a print magazine as well. So there's a lot of steps and a lot of developments in that process, I'm sure. Could you kind of tell our listeners a little bit about what how that process happened? It seems like a lot of things must have happened, right, to bring it from one place to another.
It's been an amazing journey. As I said, I started out by sharing my thoughts and recipes and games and lessons, whatever, on my website, and I put them into monthly email letters to my friends. So one day, a mom on my email list sent me this reply, and I recognized it. It was my lesson plan, but it was so fancy. It had beautiful fonts, beautiful colors, background pictures. It looked like it was from a magazine. So the content was mine, but it was beautiful and it was inviting, and I was amazed. And so I asked her what this was about. She told me she was a graphic artist by trade, and she decided to design a layout for my email letter. And she said, I'd be happy to do this for you every month if you like. And I told her, I can't afford to pay you for this. And she laughed and she said, oh, you know what? I just want some beautiful and inviting lesson plans for my kids, and sharing my gift is good enough for me. I'd be happy to do this. So she
Wow.
started doing this for me. And then another mom came to me and she said she was tasked with coming up with children's material for the Ukrainian eparchial newspaper, The Way. And she wanted to know if I would permit her to offer them some of my content. And in return, she wanted to give me hand-drawn color pages that she made for like coloring book style pages for the families on my email list. So now I had a couple pages to this newsletter that I sent out every month. Another mom came to me. She was a reporter for the Washington Times, and she left her career to raise her family. And she saw our material on Facebook, and she wanted to be part of this, what she called a fun new ministry that we started. So like now I'm a ministry. I couldn't believe it. So she gave me these beautiful interviews with all kinds of interesting people that we could share with the kids. So since then, I've welcomed a lot more volunteers to the ByziKids team. All of them miraculously highly skilled and very eager to add their talents to this ministry. We offered the magazine as a strictly online digital publication for about a year. And then a lot of our readers asked if we would consider creating a printed edition to be mailed to their homes. So we arranged that. We gave it a try, and it's been really successful now. We've been doing that for 1 year as a digital magazine and 5 years as a print magazine.
Very cool. And the digital edition is still available for free on the website, but there is kind of because there's costs with printing and shipping and everything like that. Obviously, the print magazine costs a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't really want to generate a profit. We're actually interested in just getting the material out there. So it will always be free online on the ByziKids page at ByziMom.com. It will always be free. And if you wanted it mailed to your home, the only thing you really pay for is the printing and the shipping and the envelope it goes in, basically. And anything, like
Right.
we've always made it clear that anything that would be left, the few pennies that we would collect at the end of the year, we donate to Eastern Christian monasteries. So we don't keep any money of our own.
Very cool. Very cool. A true labor of love, and it's great to hear that you have. Did you say 10 other like-minded moms at least who are
And
involved
there
in
have been
that?
several others. Some come, some go. Things happen in people's lives and they come in and they go out. But we've had at least, I would say, a dozen women altogether, maybe more, who've come in and volunteered for a time and have written articles or created puzzles or coloring pages for the kids and given us interviews, given us, like your beautiful children have given us so many photographs to put into there of the things that they've seen in the magazine and have done. And we have
Hmm.
put those in as an inspiration to other kids, and we call that the ByziKids Express, where they can express how they feel about what we've done and show us some of their work.
And it's always cool to see a lot of these things being done, right? Instead of just reading the activity to actually see it be put in practice. We were speaking with Kuria Jocelyn Abiad, and she said that's how she first kind of got involved with ByziKids as well, was taking pictures of her kids doing the things, and then it kind of grew from there, right? That was the hook that pulled her in.
Right. I asked her, I said, you're doing so many wonderful things. Would you consider coming on board and sharing them with the rest of us? And she was so happy to do it. And we've been a team ever since. She's wonderful.
Once again, if you're just listening, forget our names. My name is Nick Medelsky. We're speaking with Lynne Wardach, talking about Busy Mom. Right now, I'm Busy Kids, the Busy Kids magazine, and now there's kind of a new resource, as if there wasn't enough already going on, with the Dwelling Place. It's a kind of a new, exciting resource that God with Us is able to offer. Could you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Oh, I am very excited to work with the people at God with Us. I spent some time with them recently over the summer, and I had the opportunity to talk about the needs of modern catechetical students and how they really changed in the past couple years. We discussed ideas for reorganizing and rebranding some of their resources, maybe updating their catechetical material. And after that meeting, they asked me, along with some of the members of my ByziKids magazine staff, to begin working on a new monthly newsletter, and it's called The Dwelling Place. We came up with that name based on the scripture quotation from the Psalms that they used as the theme for the 2023-2024 catechetical year. The verse goes, "O Lord, I love the place where your glory dwells." So we like to say this new publication, The Dwelling Place, is sponsored by God with Us, but it's powered by ByziKids. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was going to say that this new project is great. It's designed with a really fresh sensory-based approach. Of course, that's my hallmark. I love things that you can smell and taste and touch and see. We've updated it to use a spiral format. So it's going to be available to every member of every Eastern Catholic parish to educate parishioners of all ages and all skill levels of faith on the same theme, all at the same time. So each month we explore a new theme that's chosen to coordinate with the theme of the catechetical year. It includes exercises, games, crafts, lessons geared toward parishioners of every age group, from infant to adult. So every single member of that congregation, even every member of the Eastern Catholic Church for that matter, is going to be studying the same topic with this resource at the very same time, but each one according to their individual skill level. So the hope there is that, since everyone is going to be studying the same thing at the same time, families are going to take this theme home with them and then continue to discuss it at their dinner tables. So entire congregations, adults as well as children, can study these themes together and explore a new facet of that theme and deepen their understanding with each skill level.
Yeah, and I've seen it. The October edition is just fantastic. Like you said, it's beautiful. Oftentimes you look at lesson plans. I've been teaching for a few years. You look at lesson plans and it's just very cut and dry, a bunch of words, and that's about it. But it's nice that it looks attractive too, right?
I think so. It's very colorful. We have, rather than grade-based or age-based levels, we use color coding because then we realize that there's a lot of students who are older than what they should be, what their ability is, or they're younger than what their ability is. And so we don't want to box anybody in. We want anybody who wants to use whatever level they like to feel free to do so. So we have colors all over the place and lots of pictures because children really respond well to that. When they see other kids doing something fun, they want to do it themselves.
And I kind of want to ask now maybe the overarching question, and we've talked a lot about, individual resources like ByziMom.com, the Busy Kids magazine, and now the Dwelling Place. But just kind of overarching, using those resources and maybe incorporating other resources, is there any sort of advice you can give to parents on how to pass the faith on to their kids?
Having raised 5 adult children, I realize that no matter how diligently you present the faith to your kids, as they get older, they're really going to strongly be challenged by the world to abandon that faith. It's difficult. Living a faith-filled life is like a battle fit for a prayer warrior today. But I believe the key to success then is actually living the faith and making it part of your everyday life. When you fly, they tell you, in case of a drop in air pressure, put your own mask on first and then adjust the mask of your child. Well, I think the faith is much the same way. We parents have to adopt our own faith practices and do them well first and do them in front of your children. Let them see you do it. It's important to be, I think, authentic with your relationship with God. And I think if we do this well, then we can safely leave everything else to God.
Beautifully put. And I had never heard thought of the face mask thing from the airplanes before as a good metaphor for that, but that's absolutely true. If we're not tending to our own prayer life, how are we going to help
Right.
others?
And these sensory things are so important too. I think a lot of our faith gets abandoned every once in a while. 2 or 3 people show up for liturgy, and so they say, well, let's cut this and let's quit that, and we won't do it because, well, nobody's here. Well, the children see that. They notice that. They need to see that
Right.
that these things are very important to us, and we're willing to ask for them. And if they see that, then they think it's important, and they'll have those memories. They'll grow up with these ideas that, it's not Easter unless we have this particular event, or the songs and the hymns and the choir, and it's not, correct unless we do these things. That'll mean a lot to them, and I think that they'll keep them as part of their own faith journey and teach their children the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I think we've kind of come to the end of our time together here for the interview. It's been great talking to you, Lynn. For people who are listening who want to get more information on all of the different things you're involved in, where would they go?
Oh, thanks so much for speaking with me here today. I really enjoyed this too. You can get to know me and all the facets of my ministry, all the little busy this and busy that, on my website, ByziMom.com. You can find all the links to my books, my Facebook and Instagram accounts, and everything we talked about today here on that website as well. If you want to sign up to receive the dwelling place, which I really highly encourage everyone to do, it is also free online. If you want to have it in your inbox every month and see all the other new great developments at God With Us, because there's a lot going on there, you can do that at godwithusonline.org.
Very cool. Well, and again, I'm excited to have ByziMom, ByziKids hooked together with God With Us, like you said, powered by ByziKids. It's such a cool partnership, and exciting to be able to offer those kinds of resources through God With Us to people across Eastern Catholic jurisdictions. It's just such a
Thank
blessing.
you so much.
And thank you for listening today here on God With Us Live. Again, wonderful to get a chance to speak with Lynn today and talk about these great resources that are available and find out more about our beautiful Eastern Catholic churches. God bless.
Joining us for this week's episode of God With Us Live. Make sure to tell a friend or two about us and subscribe in your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to follow God With Us online on Facebook and Instagram for even more great content about the Eastern Catholic churches. And don't forget to check out all the other great Eastern Catholic podcasts at godwithusradio.org, where faith meets life. God With Us Live is a production of God With Us Radio, hosted, produced, and edited by Nick Modelski. Send us a message at info@godwithusradio.org.